When my wife got diagnosed with cancer, she secretly wrote a will to leave half of our assets to her single male colleague. She said she couldn't take care of him while alive, but hoped to protect him somehow after death. I kept the news of her misdiagnosis to myself, watching her chase love without hesitation. In the end, she lost her money, job, and reputation. Ironically, she's still alive. When I got the call about Mary's cancer misdiagnosis, I was online looking for treatment options. The latest biopsy results showed it wasn't cancer. Big relief. Since I was the contact person for Mary at the hospital, they were eager to inform me. I was almost crying tears of joy. A week ago, when Mary visited the doctor, they diagnosed her with pancreatic cancer. The doctor said the prognosis was bad, and to prepare for the worst. I thought my world had collapsed. But Mary kept comforting me, saying fate was fate and she could accept her destiny if it's cancer. However, Mary is only 36 and I just couldn't accept it. Every day that week was torture. I was dragging her everywhere for another opinion. I was ready to spend every dime and take her overseas for treatment. And now, I finally felt a weight lift off my shoulders. I was genuinely thankful to fate. Thank you for giving Mary back to me, for giving us another chance to grow old together. Before I could share the good news with Mary, I noticed her browsing history had searches about wills. Mary's parents are gone. She doesn't have siblings, and her money is our joint property. I was puzzled why she needed to make a will. I looked at her computer. It was her personal laptop in her study, which I usually never touch. Mary doesn't like her things messed with, and usually neither I nor our kid goes into her study. If it weren't for my laptop being out of juice, I wouldn't have used it today. What secrets does it hold? With a strange mix of curiosity and dread, I searched for will on her laptop. I did find something. Even now, remembering the moment I first saw that will makes my heart tighten and body shake. In this will, my dearest wife said she wanted to leave her portion of our joint assets to her soulmate Sam after she died. She mentioned how our relationship had already broken down, and how she endured my emotional abuse for years, just for the sake of the kids. She painted me as a typical narcissistic person, NPD, self-centered, always belittling and humiliating her, controlling her, and mentally tormenting her. According to her, my abuse was why she got cancer. She claimed it was Sam who comforted her every time she thought about ending it all. She depicted Sam as himself very unfortunate, but doing his best to light the way for others, a quality she admired greatly. Before dying, she decided to leave her assets to the person who was the only light in her tough life, Sam. She insisted their relationship was pure and that leaving him money was just to repay his kindness. She wished those who cared about her would understand and respect her decision and oversee the use of the money. I felt cold and dizzy. I couldn't dare believe Mary wrote that. Mary and I met in college. She was into academic research and worked at a university. Her salary was modest, but she clung to her pride, never resorting to scheming or playing the game. Over the years, I provided for the family. I bought the house, the car. I supported her lifestyle and academic pursuits. She used to say she was grateful that I gave her a warm haven from the mundane world. Then came the cancer diagnosis. I was scrambling, pulling every string to find her specialists. She kept saying she wouldn't seek treatment and would leave the money to me and the kids. I cried my heart out, telling her we'd spend everything if it meant treating her. At that moment, she looked at me with such sorrow, calling me a fool. These past days, while watching me fight for her treatment, she was, in secret, preparing to blame me for her illness and hit me where it hurts the most after she died. How could someone be so cold and calculated? Sam was someone I knew only through photos. He was a colleague of Mary, very thin and frail-looking. He joined Mary's university 2 years ago as a research project secretary, specifically working for Mary's team. From day one, he was taking leaves, coming late, and leaving early. His job was supposed to reduce administrative load for the teachers, but Mary's workload grew after he joined. Initially, Mary vented to me about him, saying he was more of a hindrance. His tasks either weren't completed on time or contained errors, causing the team to stay late to fix them. Everyone was complaining. Then came a major screw-up. While filing for a national project, Sam mixed up two documents. As lead of the project, Mary lost her temper and told him off. That's when Sam broke down, pleading with Mary not to fire him. His wife had died in a car accident. He and his child had been kicked out of their home by his mother-in-law, and he couldn't lose this job. His 5-year-old son needed surgery for a congenital heart defect, something that required a lot of money. Sam begged everyone on his knees, promising to improve his work. That night, Mary came home, told me everything and sighed, saying she felt guilty. From that day on, she'd sometimes give Sam our daughter's toys or books. She stopped complaining about his mistakes and just mentioned how tough his life was, offering help whenever possible. I remember a few times Mary took our daughter camping with coworkers, and Sam and his son joined them. I never participated, thanks to being busy, but our daughter would come back and say she didn't like Sam's son, that he was difficult and always fighting, even cursing. That time, Mary criticized our daughter, saying that the little brother was already seriously ill, and for her to argue with a younger, sick child was small-minded and lacked compassion. I argued with Mary then. I stood by our daughter, saying that even if the other child was disabled, our daughter should know right from wrong, rather than just being told to tolerate. Mary seemed guilty and didn't argue back with me then. I thought that was all the connection Sam would have with our family. Now I think maybe when Mary unjustly blamed our daughter, her relationship with Sam was already out of line. Before being diagnosed with cancer, Mary often worked overtime. She worked late nights, weekends, and even during winter and summer breaks. After the diagnosis, she kept working late. The other day, puzzled, I asked her why she was still working when she was so ill. She said she had a project to finish and didn't want to leave any regrets. Now, it's clear what she didn't want to regret. After splashing my face with cold water and downing a mug of iced Americano, I collected myself and drove to her school. At the school gate, I called Mary to ask if she'd be home for dinner. I offered to make her favorite sweet and sour ribs. Sounding apologetic, Mary said she'd love the ribs, but she was really busy, had missed lunch, and just gulped down a piece of bread. She knew I was busy too and didn't want to trouble me, so she planned to grab something at the school cafeteria and keep working. I said okay, ready to hang up, when Mary reminded me, don't forget to eat while you're busy. I'm already sick. You must take care of yourself, or our Daisy would have it too hard. How dare she mention Daisy when she didn't leave a cent for her in her will? Disgusted, I reassured her I'd take care, and quickly hung up. I stared at the school entrance, silently praying there was a slight chance Mary was actually working overtime. But not even 10 minutes later, I watched her car drive out of the school gate. A few cars in between, I followed. At the next intersection, barely 100 meters away, Mary stopped the car. She picked up a man. He was slim, wearing a white shirt, and from behind he looked vulnerable, just like how I remembered Sam. Half an hour later, Mary drove into the Coastal Park parking lot. The lot has a view of the ocean without having to get out of the car. Ironically, I was the one who shared this spot with Mary, telling her parking here, just listening to music and feeling the sea breeze, could bring happiness. Now it's her dating spot with another guy. Keeping an eye on Mary's car, I called the lawyer. The lawyer told me in our case, Mary could leave her share of the marital property in her will to anyone as long as she and the beneficiary didn't have a romantic relationship. In other words, even if there was an affair, unless I had concrete evidence of infidelity during our marriage, the will would stand. Hanging up, a chill ran down my spine. Maybe to avoid being discovered and affecting will inheritance, Mary and Sam stayed in the car. About an hour later, they drove back to school. Sam got out a block earlier, and Mary drove back to the school alone. Guessing Mary had parked, I dialed her phone. Hey honey, are you still at school? Daisy's teacher needs a video of her playing table tennis for the school team selection. Can you send it to me, quick? I said this because I knew Mary backs up Daisy's table tennis videos on her computer. Hearing my urgency, Mary paused briefly, hurriedly agreed, then said she'd send it right away. But watching from afar, I saw she didn't get out of the car immediately. Minutes passed before she finally rushed into the office building. Shaking, I used a spare key to open her car and took out the dashcam. I hoped she hadn't deleted the footage. When I bought this car for her, it came with a free dashcam that recorded outside but not inside the car. Worrying about emergencies, I paid extra for a high-end model that recorded both inside and out. Maybe it was fate, but my luck was good. Although previous inside recordings were gone, Mary hadn't deleted this recent one. The high-end dashcam captured their time inside the car perfectly. Sam naturally took the passenger seat, and Mary held his hand while driving. They didn't exchange pleasantries, just shared a knowing smile. At a red light, she eagerly kissed him, saying she'd wanted to in the office. Her left hand, free from the steering wheel, wandered over Sam, as if time was scarce. Sam enjoyed it, saying he would do anything for her. If you can't hold it, I'll happily join you in your office. Anything for you, he offered, but Mary declined, saying she could wait. I'm a dying person. I don't fear judgment. But if we're seen together, you'll be caught in a storm. I'm not scared. From the moment I confessed, nothing phases me. I just want to be with you. His words moved Mary deeply. Sam, I really fear death, not because of death itself, but because I fear leaving you too heartbroken. Don't worry. I've written my will, had it notarized. When I die, my share of the money will go to you and the kids. You won't suffer anymore. Moved by her heartfelt words, Sam cried. Between sobs, he said, I don't want your money. It's not about the money. I just want you with me. Mary also cried, caressed his hand with her right hand, and said, I know, my Sam, you're so kind. That's why I love you. It's harsh, but 10 years with Jack don't compare to these months with you. Life plays the cruelest jokes. Sam had tears in his eyes again. He said he couldn't bear to see Mary come back to me and suffer. He said he was willing to beg me to let him and Mary be together. He even thought maybe I'd agree to a divorce out of sympathy for her illness. By that time, Mary had already driven the car into the seaside park. She parked, and the first thing she did was to hug Sam. You're being silly, she said. Do you really think Jack will be as kind as you? He's all about the money, that guy. His world is full of scheming and deceit. If my mom hadn't forced me, I never would have been with him, let alone marry him. Our 10-year marriage was me compromising for the sake of peace. I thought I'd just put up with it for the kids. But that patience just landed me with this disease. It's too late for regrets now, but at least I have you. If I ask for a divorce, he won't leave me anything, and he'll probably hurt you too. I've checked into it, pancreatic cancer progresses quickly. For the time I have left, I just want to spend it quietly with you, not waste it dealing with him. When I'm gone, you must go to Lawyer Song. I've calculated it. Even after buying a house, there's still enough money for you to live comfortably for a long time. Just thinking about that makes me feel like my life won't have been in vain. In a few days, I'll tell him I want to go out to relax, as we planned. We'll take our son to your hometown and check out those properties we saw online. I've got to help you pick a house and plan the decor before I go. That way I can rest in peace. Sam was overwhelmed, clinging to Mary, covering her mouth as if he couldn't bear to hear her say death. But Mary, like a mentor, gently advised Sam, when I'm gone, go get the will from Lawyer Song and tell everyone Jack drove me to it. That's why he won't get a cent of my estate. At this critical point, Sam lifted his teary eyes and looked at Mary with clear but naive eyes, asking, Isn't that kind of wrong? Mary laughed and tweaked his nose. You are too kind. With someone like Jack, you can't go soft. He made his money easily, losing half of it is no big deal. Besides, it's marital property. When I die, I can choose who gets it. So, she knows most of our shared marital assets came from me. I clench my fists, unsure of what I did to deserve Mary plotting against me like this. My head's spinning. Tears just fall. My heart aches and my stomach cramps. I rush out of the car and vomit. Turns out, when pain hits its peak, it makes you sick. The silly part is, in that agony, memories with Mary play like flashbacks in my mind. We went to the same college but had different majors. She was a bit of a campus star, a 3-time debate champ. I met her because her mom had cancer, and my mom happened to work at a top hospital. She came to me suddenly, asking if I could use my mom's connections to get her mom a specialist appointment. Teenage Mary was proud and aloof, clearly unused to asking for favors. Just saying those words took all her strength. She blushed, looking so different from her confident debate persona, but it caught my sympathy. I asked my mom to help get her a specialist. Her mom was so grateful. They often sent gifts when visiting, mostly poultry raised at home, killed and frozen. I felt awkward, told her not to bother. She was always awkward with words around me. Her cheeks would still turn red, but her eyes were full of rare honesty. She said the gifts weren't fancy and hoped I wouldn't mind. They were her mom's tokens of appreciation. Still, her mom's cancer relapsed and she passed. When Mary returned from the funeral, she brought me a basket of cherries. She told me, with her mom gone, she'd rarely visit her hometown and couldn't bring me gifts anymore. I don't know if you like cherries, but I do, so I bought you some, she said, her eyes red from crying, yet she stood tall and strong. I knew she liked me. It's hard not to feel something when such a girl likes you. But I was planning to study abroad with no intention of dating. Since she didn't confess, I pretended to be unaware. But we got closer. I'd run into her while studying. She'd sit across from me and study too, silently. Sometimes we ate together, chatted on the beach, biked, and talked about dreams and future plans. She was a great listener, patient with my worries and life stories. Her presence made the stressful days of applying to schools abroad more bearable. At our graduation prom, she sang a song for the girl she loved. Everyone knew it was for me, but after, she just wished me success. I asked, if you like me so much, why not tell me? My bluntness made her blush deep. It took her a while to respond. She said she knew I'd leave, and she didn't want to hold me back. You're like an eagle, she said, meant to soar. That made my heart flutter. Coincidentally, a great business opportunity popped up around that time. I was torn about leaving in the first place. Mary tipped the scales. I stayed, and naturally we started dating. Our relationship didn't follow traditional roles. I was the breadwinner. She was the charming beauty. After graduating, she went for a master's, then a PhD, and stayed as a researcher. I started my own company, and it's doing fairly well now. I never questioned her choices. She showed complete support for my career. We had a lovely daughter. With her parents gone, there was no in-law drama. My parents were easygoing, not entirely thrilled, but they didn't make things hard for her either. Before her cancer diagnosis, I thought everything was perfect. If there was a flaw, it was the lack of intimacy over the last 6 months. She'd always say she was just tired. When she was diagnosed, I felt guilty. Her health was already failing, and I, as her husband, hadn't noticed. I only thought about our physical relationship, which felt like negligence on my part. Now I finally get it. It's not that she can't. She just can't with me. She's staying faithful to the man she truly loves. I've been independent since I was a kid because my parents were always busy with work. I got used to not relying on anyone. Mary was the one person I thought I could lean on for life. I trusted her like I'd never trusted anyone before. She became the most important person to me. Over the years, her arrogance made her enemies with her bosses and colleagues. I was the one who smoothed things over for her, bending over backward without a second thought, loving her unconditionally. And all I got was her manipulation. Maybe she never loved me at all. Those moments I mistook for unspoken love were just because her mom liked me. She only pursued me to make her mom happy. Such a flimsy reason kept me trapped for half my life. After throwing up, I got back in the car and copied the dashcam footage to my phone. Getting caught up in misery isn't my style. If Mary didn't appreciate what I gave, I'll just take it all back. She's so in love with that man. As her husband, it's my duty to clear the way for her. She should give it all up and choose her true love. Most people end up not spending all their money before they die. I want to see if she can still love that man when her career, reputation, and money are gone. Yet she's alive. In the days following the dashcam incident, Mary claimed she was swamped at work and stayed out late every night. Surprisingly, she looked quite healthy, not like someone with cancer. Neither Sam nor Mary suspected anything was off with her illness, which shows they truly deserve each other. Meanwhile, she used the excuse of sleeping poorly to suggest we sleep in separate beds. I agreed without hesitation. She visibly relaxed, and so did I. After all, it was exhausting suppressing my urge to slap her. While Mary was cozying up with her lover in the days that followed, I consulted with the city's best divorce lawyer, Sister Long. Sister Long looked over the will and dashcam footage and sighed. If it weren't for the cancer misdiagnosis, that will might have actually worked out in her favor. I gave a bitter smile, yeah, and I'd end up the villain everyone curses at, while Sam enjoys the fruits of my life's work. Sister Long handed me a cup of tea and said, "In my line of work, I've seen it all. But trust me, time heals all wounds. As long as you don't fall apart, you'll get through this." The green tea leaves unfurled in the clear glass, and that cup of tea finally cut through the sticky feeling Mary's betrayal had left on me. Yes, I know I wasn't the one who cheated, and I wasn't at fault, but I still felt like I was covered in slime, like I was dirty too. Every night, I couldn't help but think over and over, why did she do this to me? Why was I the unlucky one she chose to trap, and why did I fall in love with her? The sickening thing about cheating is it gives you heartbreak and plunges you into deep self-doubt. Was something wrong with me too? Was I really not worth loving? But that afternoon, Sister Long's tea miraculously saved me. Even if I was spit on, once I cleaned it, I was still me. But if I fell into self-destruction, it'd be like permanently wearing that spit. That would truly be a loss. I bucked up, told Sister Long my plan, and, with her advice, made sure my assets were secure for the divorce. It was time to scrub up that mess for good. 3 days later, Mary, for once, didn't work late. When I got home, she was busy in the kitchen. Our housekeeper and Daisy were away. Mary emerged. I asked the housekeeper to take Daisy to her grandma's. I thought we could have dinner alone. It's been a while. She looked at me with the same gentle, affectionate gaze I was used to. But she didn't know I'd hired a private investigator who restored the dashcam footage she deleted every day. Today's footage showed her kissing Sam, saying, "Finally, I can leave that man for good. Darling, we'll never have to be apart." Dinner was 6 dishes and a soup, roasted mushrooms, braised bamboo shoots, sea intestines rice, mixed fish stew, fermented tofu with hollow vegetables, and rice cake soup. All my favorites. Seeing the spread, it was hard not to think of the old days. At first, neither Mary nor I could cook. When we started dating, she'd watch what I liked at dinner and learn the recipes from my mom. It was how my mom slowly warmed up to her. Back then, maybe she didn't love me just because her mom told her to. But now, none of that mattered. Sitting at the table, I deliberately toyed with the food, then looked at Mary across the table. Everything I love. What, planning to never cook for me again? Mary's face showed a flicker of barely detectable discomfort as she served me and said with a smile that looked pained, "Jack, you know, my time is really running out. I just wanted to thank you for all the effort you put into this family over the years. I have something important to discuss." That opening line, I don't know how many times she rehearsed it in her head, but it still sounded so stiff and fake. But I kept calm, feigning a listening ear. Mary hurriedly spoke, as if afraid of losing the moment. "My illness is terminal. I don't have much time left. Lately, I've felt noticeably weaker. It's all getting hard. Jack, I'm scared, really scared. I'm not scared of dying. I'm scared of letting you and the kids see me in a miserable state. Daisy's still so young. I want her to remember me as a respected college professor, not a half-dead person. Jack, you understand me, right?" Just like that, she was about to segue into her next act. Looking at Mary, it struck me how hideous she actually was. To keep things natural, I pressed her, "So what are you saying?" Mary paused, as if she was building up some emotion, and soon tears rolled down her cheeks. "I plan to go out on my own to clear my mind, to float between heaven and earth. Don't look for me. Just tell Daisy that I went abroad for work. When she's older, tell her the truth, that her mom always loves her." As soon as she said that, Mary broke down crying. Quite the performance. But I tried to look genuinely sad. "Mary, don't say that. Medical advances are amazing now. I've asked a friend to look into it. There's a new treatment method, and I've already contacted a doctor there by email. They say that in your case, there's a chance for survival. I'm not giving up on you, so don't give up on yourself, okay? Just as I expected, Mary refused treatment. Do you think I haven't contacted doctors overseas? I got top experts to look at my report, and they all said there's no cure. They told me to live out the rest of my days well. Mary got more agitated and slammed the table. Jack, I've given way to you my whole life. Now I'm about to die. Can you respect me enough to let a dying person be? She almost couldn't keep up the act. My resentment for Mary grew, but I still pretended to care. No, I don't want you to talk like that. Mary was on the verge of breaking down. Her eyes were red as she questioned me, seemingly speaking from the heart. Can't you just let me go free? Looking at her so-called wicked face, I was past acting. I said I disagreed with her going out to clear her mind. Once I confirmed the timing with the doctors, I'd take her for treatment right away, and she should be ready to leave at any time. That meal ended with me leaving the table to pick up Daisy from my mom's place. Mary quietly disappeared that night. At 1 a.m., thinking I was asleep, she left with the bags she'd already packed. I watched everything in the darkness, through the cameras I had installed when she wasn't around. She left without even thinking to check on Daisy. Once she left, I went into Daisy's room and held her hand tightly. No, Mom, no problem. I'll give my Daisy all the love she needs. Mary was missing. I was in a panic, reaching out to the school. To everyone I met, I cried and told them about Mary having pancreatic cancer. I said she ran away to not burden the family. I shared how Mary and I had been together since our school days. She was my first love and true love, and I'd use all my money to save her. I begged them to help me find Mary. Mary's colleagues were shocked at first, as they had no idea she was sick. Then they sighed, saying she was so compassionate, choosing not to drag down her family. They assured me they'd help find her and even help with her treatment. I shook hands, acting like they were my saviors, and I managed to win them over more or less. Mary, for crying out loud. With such a caring husband, the family could face anything together. If she's sick, get treatment. Why run away like this? How are we supposed to live when she just ups and leaves? When we find her, I'll help you give her a piece of my mind. Before I could express my gratitude, a cold voice meant I couldn't leave anything unsaid. One shouldn't comment without knowing the whole truth. Mary isn't the type to lose her head. Leaving without a word, she must have had her reasons. I turned around and saw Sam, looking at me coldly with a hint of mockery. I have no idea what he has to mock me for, since technically, I'm his meal ticket. I stood up, holding his hand tightly. Listen, teacher, the way you're talking, you must know Mary well, even her reasons for leaving. Did she tell you something? You need to let me know. Lives are at stake here. All eyes were on him. He was nervous, his face turning red as he tried to shake me off. What are you talking about? Mary wouldn't tell me anything like that. I changed my expression too, looking angrily at him. I figured from your certainty that you and Mary were friends. How can you talk like this if you don't even know my Mary well? As a family member worried about her disappearance, I seek help from the school, and instead of helping, you're being all passive-aggressive. What's your deal? Sam insisted. I didn't mean it that way. I just think, as a family member, you should respect Mary's wishes. If she's hiding, she doesn't want to see you now. By looking everywhere for her like this, aren't you going against her wishes? Maybe it's your controlling nature that made her hide. I was baffled looking at him. So, you're saying as her family, I should just watch her die? Sam was stung by that. He was speechless. But I can't do that. I love her. I can't just watch her die. The union's big sister patted my shoulder while giving Sam a glaring look. Don't listen to his nonsense. No good person watches a woman die without doing anything. Sam bit his lip, looking pale. But with Mary gone, no one cared about his fragile act. In reality, I know where Mary is. I hired a private investigator to report her whereabouts to me constantly. She never traveled out of town, let alone abroad. She holed up in an apartment I'd rented for Sam, playing video games by day and playing games with Sam by night. Sometimes they'd do it multiple times a night. When the PI told me this, he looked confused and asked, "Isn't she supposed to have cancer? It seems like the guy does not want her to live. Of course. Only if Mary dies can Sam get any money. I'm puzzled too. Isn't Sam worried she'll die in his bed? That'd mean no inheritance from his perspective. I can't fathom their love, but their next step aligns with what they said on the dashcam. Sam took leave, arranged for his son to stay at a rehab center, and the two headed to Sam's hometown. In their quiet city, they paraded through new real estate sales offices, gazing longingly at million-dollar homes, sipping free drinks from sales reps, and then enigmatically saying they'll think about it. Hearing the private eye's description left me both shocked and angry. I might not have given Mary an exact breakdown of my savings, but she has a pretty accurate sense of our shared finances. Clearly, her respectable facade hadn't stopped her from doing her own calculations. Let them look at as many houses as they want. They can't buy them anyway. Every day, I was just devastated. The company handed over stuff to my close buddy, and I left the kid with the nanny at my mom's place. Meanwhile, I was online all the time, trying to track Mary through every social media connection she had while enjoying real-time photos of her looking at houses without buying. Quickly, I was out of options. So I turned to the internet. I uploaded a carefully made video and asked everyone online to help me find Mary. The video showed our journey from campus days to the wedding, eating at food stalls and fancy restaurants. We cheered each other on, wishing happiness for each other. Folks watching were hooked. They were throwing around curse words but saying, "That's what love looks like." Sure enough, the video shot from a few thousand likes to 1 million quickly. Even got the attention of the country's biggest missing person show. The show's director got in touch, promising to help find Mary. I was in tears, pouring my heart out in front of cameras. I kept telling the story of Mary's illness and how she didn't want to burden me, but I needed to find her because I had the means to help with her treatment. This whole saga brought crazy traffic to the show. Then, suddenly, a miracle. My search efforts pinged Mary's apartment agent after hitting social media. The agent snapped a pic of Mary and sent it over to the show. The show crew and I agreed to keep it low-key and rushed overnight to the location. But when we met the agent, he seemed embarrassed. He said he checked again the previous night to confirm. He saw Mary heading home, arm in arm with a guy who called her wife. He thought it was probably someone who looked like Mary, not her. The agent genuinely believed he had mistaken someone else for Mary. He didn't even consider another scandalous possibility. But since we were already here, the program crew decided to knock on the door where Mary was reported. Sam, wearing very little, was suddenly caught on camera. Mary's co-workers and I were with the crew and Sam was trembling. He screamed in panic. Mary ran out of the bedroom, yelling, "What's going on? Baby? What happened?" Everyone, including the camera crew, was just stunned by what they saw. After a deafening silence, I heard the director shouting at the camera guy to turn off the cameras quickly before the live stream got blocked. Mary, running back to the bedroom, shouted, "Get out! Get out! Who let you in? I'll sue you for trespassing." Amid this chaos, a food delivery guy rushed in, holding a takeout box, puzzled by the crowd. "Who ordered the set menu?" he asked, confused. This drama was orchestrated by me, much more thrilling than I anticipated. Then I stormed into the bedroom like a heartbroken husband catching his cheating wife, tearing into Mary, who was hastily dressing. Thank heavens for my military training, which came in handy now as I confronted Mary aggressively but without causing injury. When the crew tried to stop me, I let her go symbolically. Then I went berserk, throwing anything I could in the house. The clamor was like some grand, fiery symphony, calming the tumultuous storm in me since I found out about Mary's betrayal. Finally, as I yanked open a drawer by the bed, an album tumbled out. A photo fell to the ground showing Mary hugging Sam and his son. They all smiled warmly, like the happiest family in the world. I opened the album to find it packed with their photos together. And there was that will, tucked inside, saying half of Mary's estate would go to Sam after her passing. Thanks to my private investigator, I pinpointed the exact location of this original will and aired it all. Sam and Mary lunged to grab it, but the show crew held them back. I read out the entire will in front of the camera. Finally, I got to ask what I've wanted for so long. Why do this to me? We were high school sweethearts, 10 years of marriage, I carried the family. Even if I didn't do everything right, I did try. If you fell out of love, we could have had an amicable divorce. Why stage lies just to divide my fortune with him? I yelled, tearfully. Part was acting, but part came from the heart. Since finding that will, these words ate at me, and now I could finally voice them. Mary hung her head in shame, but Sam yelled back fearlessly. Stop flattering yourself. You didn't do anything special. You only supported Mary to control her. I slapped him without hesitation. Shut up. You've been living off my hard-earned money. Who are you to talk smack? Mary was furious, yelling at me for hitting someone, saying Sam was her soulmate, no more charades. Divorce it is. Our sentimental reunion spiraled into a shouting brawl. Viewers were flooding into the live stream chat, stunned by the sudden twist. Mary didn't care about dignity anymore. She demanded half of everything in divorce. I slapped her and said it was meant for our child. She couldn't rightfully claim it to be spent on him. Mary was livid, but she knew better than to lash out in front of cameras. Still, she yelled about shared marital assets and how my earnings belonged to both of us. She was dying anyway, not fearing anything. Divorce was inevitable and she wanted half. In front of all the people online, I quickly reached out to Long, the lawyer. Long then, also in front of everyone online, told me to apply for property preservation in court. That means securing the other party's assets, applying for online control checks, and freezing their bank account. People online kept asking me to do a divorce live stream. They said even though they've never been married, they wanted to see what the divorce process is like. After talking to Long, I agreed. I promised everyone I would report every step of this divorce through live streams. Before asking Long for his opinion, I checked with my daughter Daisy. Daisy is only 7.5. She told me that if her mom did something wrong, she should face the responsibility and accept punishment. With the dedicated work of public officials, I tracked every cent Mary spent on Sam. This included everything from Sam's kids' rehab bills, rent, plane tickets, down to bubble tea and skincare products. All this money came from our shared family assets, showing that Mary never thought about our child's future. I shared these expenses with Mary during the live stream and asked her if this was what she called love. Is her love spending my money to show affection to Sam? The message I sent got no reply, despite being witnessed by everyone online. Even if Mary played dead, the court ruled that she intentionally transferred marital assets. Sam was ordered to return the assets. Plus, since Mary not only spent my hard-earned money on her affair, but also tried to leave a fortune to her lover through a will after her death, she was kicked out with nothing. After the ruling, I thought everything was settled. But, shockingly, Sam came to my door asking, even if she's dying, don't you love her at all? Why push her to the edge? I hit record and pointed the camera at his face. When you seduced her, did you check that money comes from me? Sam had the nerve to say my earnings are Mary's too, and if she wanted to spend it on him, that was her choice. I was at a loss for words. Sometimes, when you're utterly speechless, you just laugh. So, I uploaded the video online too. Also, I let people know that a doctor friend reviewed Mary's medical report and thought it might have been a misdiagnosis. Online, I urged Mary to get rechecked because if she's not dying, that's a fortunate turn of events. I wished her well. This way, Mary should now know she only had pancreatitis. Side note, at the peak of Mary's online fame, her school investigated and announced that both Mary and Sam were fired for their moral failings. To make matters worse, Mary discovered she didn't have cancer, just a misdiagnosis. Facing imminent death, she was brave and fearless. But losing her reputation and money, and realizing she wasn't dying anytime soon, forced her back to reality. She had to keep her job to survive. After several unsuccessful pleas to the principal, Mary got angry and accused him of sexual harassment. Her evidence? The principal touched her, but when they were alone on a rainy night. With things already stacked against her, the principal immediately fired her. Sam also indirectly expressed he couldn't be with Mary anymore. His 5-year-old son had watched the videos online and didn't want Sam and Mary to be together. Mary called the child an ingrate and wouldn't leave Sam alone. Probably fed up, Sam finally stopped pretending. He called Mary a jinx, saying she ruined his once peaceful life. I was blind to have chosen you. If I had known you were this useless, I wouldn't have even looked your way, he said. The once dream guy showed his true colors, and Mary couldn't take it. She went to a grocery store, bought a cleaver, and while Sam was out with his kid, she killed him right in front of the child, then took her own life. It's just a pity for the child. Already having a heart condition, the fright was too much and he didn't make it. When I read this news, I was flying to the Maldives with my kid for a vacation. Outside the window, the rising sun painted the clouds in layers of gold. Today was a brand new day. I would ride the winds of change, forgetting everything from yesterday, along with the unsent apologies she left in my inbox. After my revenge, I have no need for apologies.